Hi there. So today I want to talk with you about two animated films I watched recently, and I really enjoyed both of them. They're very different, but somehow they share the same theme. And so let's begin. The first one is Uppers, the new Disney Pixar films, directed by Daniel Chong in his debut as a film director. He was the creator of We Bear Bears, which is also quite popular Cartoon Network TV series. And I have to admit, the trailers uh, don't give the idea of how fun, how entertaining, and how deep this film is. You know, this is why I went to the cinema expecting a decent film, but not expecting something amazing. Even if I was reading some reviews and they were all, overexcited. So I said maybe this film is gonna surprise me, and it did. It's also a huge, an homage to activism as well, because the protagonist Mabel is this university student who grew up with her grandmother, and she learned from her to care for this pond and all the animals who live around this. But the grandmother dies. She goes to university, and the mayor of this city of Beaverton wants to build a motorway on the pond, so the animals are gone, and so she doesn't know what she's in this moment when she's kind of thinking maybe activism is not for her. She has to do something else, and she discovers that a university professor has created this thing, which is like a robot that can mimic animals or beavers in this case, and transfer like the consciousness of human beings into this machine. So she decides to pretend she's a beaver and to convince everybody to move back to the pond. And this is where the film becomes really crazy in a good way. And there is this character, King George, which is the king of the mammals, because you will see. I mean, I suppose you've seen the film because it came out a few weeks ago. But in case you don't know, there are other kings, bird, amphibians, fish, and the story turns a bit weird, and I love that. I mean, the evil guy of the film was so unexpected. I really fell in love with the whole situation, and the fact that when the animals are talking to each other, they look more cartoonish. When they're interacting with men, they look like animals, you know. And I think it's a Studio Ghibli reference, and I really enjoyed the way that there is this tendency of not being so realistic, and how the fur looks on the animal. They look like puppets, you know. And there was this animation test that came out a few weeks ago, a 2D animation test that looks so amazing, and I wish they tried to do something like that. But I heard Pixar is making like something different, trying something different for the next films, one of them especially. So I'm really curious about it. The second film I saw is a French animated film. It was also nominated for Best Animated Feature, and is Arco by Hugo Bienvenu. I think that's the right pronunciation. Forgive me. And the theme is quite similar. There is also this interest for the planet, this love for the planet, and the thing you get from the first scene, the score is so similar to something that Joe Hisaishi could have made, and even the animation, it looks like a huge homage to Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli as well. And I know it's quite common to define this film as such, but it's really reminiscent of E.T. You know, for those of you who haven't seen Arco, and I really think you should. So Arco is this boy who's 10 years old, live in 2932, and they live up in the skies on the clouds in this futuristic environment that looks quite, yeah, Miyazaki style. I mean, that's the inspiration, I think. And they can time travel through these suits, like they look like rainbows. And but there is a law: if you're not 12, you cannot travel. You cannot do this. And but Arco wants to do that, so he steals her sister's suit, and he gets lost in 2075, which is probably the best time for humans to be alive. There are like a lot of extreme weather events, and there is another 10-year girl who is called Iris, and Iris and Arco, so a lot of the name is quite reminiscent of light and rainbows and colors, and she helps him to get back to the future, and it's really a joyful film, even in it is kind of a disaster film somehow, because the planet is dying, humanity is in this worst moment, and it's interesting to see that 2075 doesn't look that different from 2025. So, I mean, there is a message there for sure, and it is fun, it's entertaining, and even the storytelling, the plot twist at the just before the end, and there are many things that are so compelling about this film. I mean, it's really impressive, and it's great to see that in Europe we are creating so many great animated films with this, let's say, with a budget, a limited budget. It's not like Flow last year, but the budget is quite unusual compared to Hollywood films, and but the quality is impressive. So I think that it's great to see that Europe is becoming specialized in this kind of art house animation. But in this case, it is art house, but it's also like it can be popular, it can be entertaining for everybody, and I really think that a lot of people should see this film. And so this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. I really hoped, I'm sure you saw Hoppers, but I really think you should see Arco as well. Let me know what you think of these films, and if you've seen them, if you plan to see them. And thanks for watching if you're still there, and let's speak with you soon.